Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and a Yukon mother says her child's former school, some members of her community, and even part of the justice system has turned against her over her advocacy to protect her young daughter from woke and gender ideology that has been running rampant within the Holy Family Catholic Elementary School in Whitehorse. She even ran for school council to try and make a difference in this area, which she says really heated up the resentment, ultimately leading to her being banned, trespassed from her own kid's school, and then criminally charged. Now, you can read about what the mainstream media has been reporting about Kenya over the past year or so. It's a crazy story. And now we're going to do what Kenya says the state-backed media has refused to, and let her tell her side of it. So let's start with something that it seems to me kind of began all of this, and it has to do with Orange Shirt Day. Tell us how old your daughter was, the interaction that happened in the class, and so on.
Thank you, Andrea. My daughter was 5 years old at the time, and this was September of 2023. And I was at home working from my home office, and I got an email from my daughter's teacher, Miss Cara Chamber. And in the email, she was telling me that my daughter answered the question in class. And the email itself problematized my daughter's answer. And my immediate gut instinct was, why does the words of a 5-year-old child have to be so important to the teacher? This is a child. She spoke like a child.
Mm-hmm.
So what I read from the email was that the teacher asked the class the meaning of Orange Shirt Day, and my daughter was the only person who put up her hand and said that Orange Shirt Day meant when Black peoples got taken away.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine, she's 5 years old. Maybe she has seen a Black Indigenous person. Maybe, for whatever reason, that was her answer, and it's okay. And then that was the problem, the child's voice, just speaking like a child. And so my daughter was singled out. She was the only person singled out in the class for evaluation. And I found that very concerning. And then I had a correspondence with the teacher. I emailed her. My husband also emailed her and told her we're very proud of my daughter Amor for having the courage to even speak up in class and answer a question. And that was what opened up what would be and what is now a can of worms that has ended me up with 4 criminal charges.
When you say your daughter was singled out for answering in what, is the wrong way, I guess, wrong think, what do you mean by that?
No other student in that class received an email. No other parent of the student, no mother, no father received an email about the performance of his or her child. So if the teacher wanted to evaluate the whole class, I would have expected that the teacher would send out an email to other parents and share her disappointment that their children couldn't answer a question on Orange Shirt Day. I mean, that would be balanced and fair. But to pick out the only child who even gave a response, Andrea, this is a 5-year-old child.
Now, that was sort of the start where you found some friction, but then something even crazier happens, in my opinion. But in Canada, I guess this is just becoming normal. You receive a report card about your daughter, who again is 5 years old, and they refer to her how, and then how did you respond to that?
The report card referred to my daughter as a their, like, rather than using her pronoun she and her. And because I understand the whole non-binary LGBT thing, my family is Catholic, and we respect and we follow the traditional family values. I immediately sent an email. My husband and I sent an email to the school principal, and we asked the principal to respect our daughter's pronouns and use she, her in her report card and not there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't participate in the whole LGBT non-binary thing.
Yeah. And this is a Catholic school. And so
Yes, it's a Catholic school.
what was their response when you said this? And sorry, why were they calling your daughter a they them?
The whole school is covered in LGBT paraphernalia, not just outside. You have to go inside. Right after the front door, there's a huge rainbow flag. And the classrooms, the first thing you see when you come to the school are rainbow quotations. God is like a rainbow. That's nowhere in the Bible or in the Catholic catechesis. I have never God is not like a rainbow. Okay, God is the creator. So and I think that they were trying to insert the language or the verbiage of the LGBT into the text of the report card so that you can tell what child is a girl and what child is a boy. And I gave birth to a girl, and I want that identity to be respected by the school. And
Mhm.
so I insisted, and that got me in trouble.
Now you talk about the propaganda, and we all know the rainbow is actually a Christian symbol, if anything, but you have this Catholic school using it to a different degree. You've spoken out about it in a certain way. Apparently, the bishop has been called dangerous for whatever he's been defending in the Bible. The CBC reported that the now former principal, left. She resigned and put an article saying that the bishop is dangerous and that he frequently oversteps his authority while the education department does little to address his behavior. And just to get a little bit more of what it must be like inside of this school, you have a teacher, a queer teacher, who comes to the defense of Miss Gray and against Bishop Villa and says that, it's really sad that Miss Gray has left. Gray was a huge advocate for the education department's sexual orientation and gender identity SOGI policy and strongly defended the school's display of the 2SLG and so on flag. So this flag that you're talking about is in the front and says, I'm pretty fearful of what if whoever's going to come in and take over is going to still feel that way or not. So, I mean, seems to be their biggest front here is having this stuff all over the school for the kids. And, the bishop seems to be at odds with that, which would be what you expect in a Catholic school. I mean, it's nothing against queer teachers being out there, but this is a Catholic school. If this was a Muslim school and you had this going on, you would start to wonder, is it really a Muslim school? So your daughter gets referred to as they, them. You go to the city meeting and go, no, no, this is not how our family wants this to go down. Then what followed?
Um, that meeting was very strange. I got the feeling that uh, it was no one was allowed to call out the principal because this action was taken without seeking the consent of parents. So after the meeting, that was December of 2023. In January, I wrote to the school principal, and all I wanted was a meeting with her. Honest conversation, that was the subject of the meeting. And then I got what my family calls a gag order. Like I was the school superintendent put a gag order on me not to communicate with any staff across the school. So that puts me in a precarious situation because I'm a parent of a student. And
Yeah.
if she's sick, I need to communicate. If she needs something, I need to come. How do you take care of your child if you can't communicate with anybody in the school?
Mm-hmm.
That in itself was a violation of my daughter's rights and my parental rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well,
And
you're not.
so I challenged first of all, I informed the superintendent that his order was inoperable. It's not possible that I would have to not be able to communicate with my child's teacher and my child's school principal. So the more I spoke up, the more attacks my family received. And then everything precipitated to 4 criminal charges. Like they had it come, it was in the works for a long time. It didn't just happen. It clustered around the time of the school council elections, but it's been coming.
And this isn't a localized issue either. I've done reports on the rising anti-Christian sentiment happening across the country. Many are familiar with that happening in Catholic schools because of what happened to Josh Alexander in Ontario. Now, that, of course, was the high school student who was later suspended, expelled, and ultimately arrested for his advocacy to have males not enter the teen girls' bathroom in the Catholic school. But even more recently, both of his parents, who are teachers in Ontario in 2 different districts, have been terminated after one, for example, was asked whether or not they will affirm LGBTQ issues. And again, those are Christians. More recently, to more relate with you being sort of banned and blocked from entering your own kids' schools. You've also been trespassed, as we'll get to as well. That rings very familiar to a mother. She's not Christian. I'm not sure if she is, but she was also banned from her kids' school. That's Bryony Dixon out in British Columbia on Vancouver Island, because after the mass shooter of children in a Catholic school in the United States had just occurred, and we saw that progressive flag with his manifesto, she had concerns about that type of propaganda being normalized in front of the kids in her school, and that got her booted off and away from the property too. So you've had these issues, you've had more that we can't cover in a single report, but you have been slapped with 4 criminal charges. 2 of those charges are for alleged harassment. The other 2 are for mischief against the school. These charges have been authorized for Holy Family School to go ahead and claim this. And these charges have since been stayed, but you are saying, no, that's not good enough. I want my name cleared.
There are 4 charges. 2 charges are for alleged harassment, and the other 2 for alleged mischief. So a total of 4 criminal charges against me.
That is shocking. Now, those charges were authorized by the school board, and then Holy Family School is the one saying that you've done those to either officials or people on the school ground, and you say that's absolute crap. You even have video, is my understanding. I'm going to be unpacking all of this to support your cause. So we're going to unpack that. I need to send out some inquiries as well, but I wanted to give you and the public this background piece because the media hasn't done that for you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, the media has blocked all of the correspondence that we try to have. In cases where there has been reports about this situation, there's been a deliberate attempt to misguide and put out misinformation to the Canadian people. And when I took the oath and became Canadian, I meant every word. I meant to uphold the values of this country. I came here by choice. And so it means a lot to me to know that I live in a country that upholds the rule of law.
Well, that was part 1 of this crazy story. You're going to be able to find more stories like it and part 2 to come at our special website called stopclassroomgrooming.com. That's also where you can chip in to help cover the expenses of our reporting on this important issue. Well, many stories like this and part 2 when it's published can be found at our special website called stopclassroomgrooming.com. Please share the library of concerning information there. And if you'd like to keep our journalism on this important subject going strong, please donate what you can.